Richard Hale, a reclusive millionaire whose empire stretched across continents, had built everything in his life on logic, precision, and control, yet nothing had prepared him for the terror of watching his 3-year-old twin daughters, Lily and Liana, fall mysteriously ill, deteriorating day by day as doctors, specialists, and world-renowned experts failed to find a cause despite his endless money, sleepless nights, and the silent prayer he whispered every time he held their small, frail hands. His mansion gradually transformed from a palace of wealth into a graveyard of medical reports, machines, monitors, and the constant sound of beeping alarms. Helicopters frequently landed on the estate carrying new specialists, new scanners, new hopes that died the moment the doctors admitted they were clueless. Richard's world had shrunk from global boardrooms to 2 tiny hospital beds placed side by side in his master suite, where he slept on the floor each night because he refused to leave them. The media speculated wildly, charities begged for donations, and conspiracy theorists whispered online, but Richard blocked the world out, focusing solely on his daughters, his only remaining connection to his late wife, Amelia, whose death during childbirth still haunted him like a shadow that clung to every corner of the mansion. With every passing week, the girls grew weaker, their once bright blue eyes dulled, their giggles disappeared, and their tiny bodies trembled with a fever no medicine could break. Exhausted, emotionally crushed, and terrified beyond reason, Richard hired a young nanny named Maya, soft-spoken, observant, a woman whose presence carried an unusual calm. He hired her not because she was the best, but because she was the only candidate who didn't seem intimidated by the mansion's gloom or his cold demeanor. From the first moment she stepped inside, Maya sensed something deeply wrong, not just with the girl's health, but with the house itself, the coldness of the rooms, the heaviness in the air, the strange silence at night when even the wind seemed afraid to move. She spent her days watching the girls closely, documenting everything, speaking to them gently, comforting them while Richard buried himself in medical research. And as days passed, she noticed patterns no doctor had cared to see. The girls worsened only when they were inside their bedroom. They always complained of nightmares involving a shadow mommy. Their fevers rose at the same time every night, and an unusual scent lingered around their beds despite the room being sterilized daily. Maya watched, listened, pieced clues together, and finally noticed something chilling. The girls improved drastically whenever they spent time outside the house, laughing faintly, breathing calmly, their cheeks regaining a touch of color, only to crash again within hours of returning to the mansion. Determined, she searched the room while Richard was away and found old baby items belonging to Amelia sealed in a trunk under the floorboards, covered in a strange white residue she didn't recognize. That night, as the girls whimpered again, Maya stayed awake in the dark and saw, with her own eyes, the air above their beds shimmering strangely, as if something unseen was draining life from them. She followed the smell to the vents, chemicals, mold, something deeper, and suddenly everything clicked. Racing to Richard, she told him everything she had found, and though he dismissed her at first, "Who isn't loyal to you is not love, it's self-abandonment." And one morning, standing in front of the mirror, eyes tired but clearer than before, he made a promise to himself, he would never beg to be chosen again. He walked away not because he stopped loving her, but because he finally chose to love himself. And if this story touched something inside you, if you've ever loved deeply, trusted blindly, or had to walk away from someone who stopped choosing you, then you're not alone. Stories like these remind us that heartbreak doesn't break us, it rebuilds us. Subscribe to the channel for more powerful, real-life inspired stories that heal, awaken, and remind you of your worth, because sometimes, the hardest endings lead to the strongest beginnings.